In a world where dreams meet reality, there exists a place where your business can flourish. That place is Shopify. Imagine having the power to craft your online store with tools that make it as easy as a gentle breeze. Whether you're an artisan of handmade wonders, a creator of digital treasures, or a curator of the latest trends, Shopify stands by your side. With its customizable templates, seamless integrations, and support that's always there, your dream store is just a heartbeat away. Join millions of visionaries around the globe and let Shopify guide you on your journey. Visit roguemedianetwork.com/Shopify. That's roguemedianetwork.com/SHOPIFY. And embark on your free trial. Shopify, where your commerce dreams come to life. This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
I am Rachel Ruth Tate, and this is Text Astrology. Hello, beautiful humans and earthbound angels assembled listening. This is Rachel Ruth Tate, your very own Text Astrologer, coming to you from the Rogue Media Network studios in the heart of Texas and the heart of downtown Waco. A quick reminder, you too can see me for a personalized natal chart reading. Book a reading with me at www.textastrology.com or get a gift certificate for a loved one, a unique and special gift of experience they will not forget. And arriving at our purpose, today's episode features a full moon in Pisces, the 12th and last sign in the zodiac, the mutable water sign ruled by Jupiter and represented by the dual fish. The purifying spiritual waters are where Venus exalts here as well. Jupiter, the ruler of Pisces, Venus, the exaltation lord. And the moon is full at 7 degrees of Pisces, loosely conjunct Saturn retrograde in the same sign. A full moon conjunct Saturn is always an event. Let's break the symbolism down before I swim into the deep end of this lunation's meaning. The moon is full in Jupiter's yin home sign of received wisdom, unifying understanding, and spiritual synthetic truth. And it's conjunct Saturn retrograde. There is some long-term issue of belief that we are confronting with this particular full moon in Pisces, that we are perhaps feeling the historic burden of. Saturn is our restriction, our onus, our responsibility, our duty, our work, our cross. And in Pisces, it's emotional, it's spiritual. It's about the divinity of what is. And there are long-standing limiting beliefs that we are confronting and reconsidering right now with this full moon. There are perhaps burdens of faith or the lack of faithful community or the lack of, that we are revisiting. Patterns of relating in good faith that we are reworking based on the struggles that we are facing with the status quo. It's nobody's fault. It's everybody's fault. Some stuff sucks right now, y'all. It straight up doesn't feel right in the world. You know what I mean? It's fucked up, the way we treat people. The apathy, the relinquishing of virtually all of our personal privacy, the emotion of our constant connection, the noise, the false divisions we die over. Listen, other than Saturn conjoining the moon, feeling our burdens in our bodies, the only other remote relationship a point is making to this moon is the moon throwing its anti-scion from its place in early Pisces to the south node in late Libra. This shows us there is harmony in letting go of some things poisoning the well, so to speak. What's best for all beings is also ultimately what's best for us individually too. If you wouldn't recommend it to a loved one, whatever it is, you don't need it for you. That goes for the words you use to talk to yourself, the substances you use to numb yourself, the way you think about your body. None of that, none of the deepest things are exempt. Be gentle and kind as you heal what is there to be healed inside. Not all wounds are visible on our surface. This full moon's ruler, Jupiter, is also hanging out in Venus's fixed earth sign of Taurus, literally hanging. It's very, very close to retrograde, so it's moving slow. And Jupiter is forming a loose sextile with this full moon, so helping us to ground our feelings and intentions in our value structure and embodied priorities. Jupiter, though soon to retrograde, right? So these values might be undergoing a fundamental change as we speak. If you're asking or not asking a lot of internal questions right now and listening or not listening, trying to ignore the answers, you're right on time. This is the time to open to the possibility of more than you have opened to. This is about creating more space. Be soft with the edges of your mind and let yourself be awed by the possibilities that appear before you with devotion. These are fated days. Nothing for you can or will miss you. Trust. Let go of others' expectations, of your expectations, of the weight of other people's wishes for you, of your wishes for you. Release where you need to be. There is here and now, and all this can be. What is? Pisces knows the present is forever. It's an infinity, and it's the only moment that there ever really is. We've never had any other moment than now. It's always now. This sort of meta thinking puts us right where we need to be to appreciate the implicit message of this Piscean lunation. Surrender to what is. It's the only way. Surrender to it being. Call it the mystery if you have to. Call it the miracle. Call it the creation, and accept the divinity of all of what's embodied here, including the parts that you aren't comfortable with, especially the parts you don't understand yet. We fear what we don't understand. Neptune is still in Pisces, so the edges of reality and its future potential will remain nebulous. Pisces feels and senses. It receives and embodies. And what there is to be felt out there is heavy at the moment. The moon conjunct Saturn. The average human is in some sort of fear or lack. There are a lot of rough vibrations around. War, famine, flood, gun violence, addiction, crime, suicide, earthquake, fire, poison, smog, economic depression. Things feel unstable. Like humanity is hanging on by some sort of an existential thread. Like we are divided more than united. And Pisces senses all of this. It's part of the reason the sign of Pisces follows the long, cold, Saturnine winter of the signs of Capricorn and Aquarius. Pisces feels the unifying truth of pain and lack and its potential for good, with the alchemy of experience that produces such virtues as compassion, empathy, unity, devotion, conviction, The search for the divine with the darkness of mortal eyes is excruciating. Pisces knows that. It's the last sign, and it's harder to bear sometimes than others. Now, this full moon, this moment, may be and likely is a mixture for you personally. And whatever the presenting sensations, the joy, the pain, all between, this full moon is asking us not to abandon what is truly our experience of the moment, not to try to make it something else. The way to move through grief is not to push it away. We don't do hard things by refusing to face them, all of them. Crises of faith require the resolution of inner clarity for a personality to remain coherent. Pisces at its core is about that spiritual coherence. That is the internal felt and sensed truth of the lived experience. That's how we know anything, through our senses. That's how we know the divine. That's how we scrape at infinity. With these human eyes, minds, and hearts, hoping against hope to know God one day, to know ourselves, to know the potential of what there is for us, to know the meaning of all of this, and to transcend whatever barriers lie between us and that ultimate peace. Let this full moon be a full reflection and a deep breath, taken with gravity and gratitude, and a deep appreciation of what there is for you right here in the real feeling of now. And with that, Moon conjunct Saturn, guys. With that, let us flow into a short break for a word from our sponsors. And here we are collecting ourselves to go over our top 3 transits or planetary movements to consider over the next 2 weeks. Number 1, Venus stations direct at 12 degrees of Leo on Sunday, September 3rd at 8:19 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hallelujah, praise the Lord, good things are coming. Finally, we have crossed the benevolent threshold. Though our blessings may be slow, as is Venus, we are starting to see the light at the end of this inner planet's retrograde tunnel, especially since this action is happening in Leo, the 5th sign in the zodiac, our fixed fire sign ruled by the sun. There will definitely be light. And Venus, the planetary lady whom bestows upon us love, joy, pleasure, gifts, desires, and much, much more. She is going to be heading forward here in self-oriented Leo, covering the ground she previously tread twice over, providing us the heart-centered wisdom and insight that we need to realize and manifest our true desires. Leo rules the heart, you know. So we have wanted whatever it is we are about to get with Venus direct in Leo. We have wanted to love on this area of ourselves and our lives. We've been perhaps noticing an arising of some old or some novel desires, or a clarification, or some understanding of the beautiful aspects of yourself that you've been wanting to get close to. The youest you, if you will. The one who loves what you love without a single reservation or ounce of shame. There is an element of Venus in Leo that speaks to the personally experienced goods, those unique and individual opportunities and sentiments of deep self, about the appreciation and the enjoyment of just being you. That's an underrated and not always easy thing, even though we can't be anything else. we can tend to perform ourselves, to want to be seen a certain way, an image, to have an identity that is resistant to change, formed in that image of what we have felt like we were supposed to be like, what other people might find pleasing. And with Venus direct, we are pushing past any remaining veneer here. We are saying yes to ourselves. Whole body yes to what feels right and fuck no to the rest. Let it be a fuck no if it's not a hell yes. That is what's up. That is what's true. And with this direct station, all bodies in Taurus and Libra, Venus's signs, so Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus and Mars in Libra, all bodies in Venus's signs are going to receive an energetic boost with the station of their ruling lady Venus direct. The cash and prizes that you were promised and longing for are way more likely to arrive now, with less waiting for satisfaction and more joy in the moment. Of what? Joy of being yourself, of course, of charting your course, living your destiny, of living your life and feeling like you get to instead of have to with a lot of things. And Venus in Leo says you are allowed to be epic, legendary. Live your own myth. You are as epic as anybody that has ever lived, okay? People are all and have been people. And why not you? Venus station direct in Leo asks us to elevate the importance of our own stories and give us full permission to center ourselves. Not to be self-centered, no, but to allow yourself as much attention as you give to anybody else, your goals, your dreams, your values, because there is nobody more responsible for you. Nobody more invested in your success than you. Your beating heart, right? What Leo rules, knows this as true. You are for you. So go forward with what you really earnestly want. Lean into what feels like yourself, like your next best step. Be unashamed with your gifts and bring others with you. You give them permission. Shine alone, and there is nobody to receive your light. So be seen, express authentically, and allow yourself just to be. Second transit. Jupiter stations retrograde at 15 degrees of Taurus on Monday, September 4th at 9:14 a.m. Central Standard Time. Well, it is no surprise that the action is happening here in Venus's sign of Taurus immediately after her direct station. Stations pull emphasis, attention. Any apparently stationary planetary object calls that attention to itself in our sky. So Venus and Jupiter, both of our benefic planets, the planets we love the sensations of, are asking for us to notice them right now. And they're both moving really freaking slow. And I'm sure we are as well. With Jupiter and Venus, this focus looks like witnessing our abundance even before it's there. Prosperity consciousness, right? Attending to your true desires with deep belief and acts of faith. Inspecting the effort put into what we expect. We have to manifest the magic. It doesn't just spontaneously arrive. So even though Jupiter is stationing retrograde right after Venus stations direct, this is asking us to be patient while things happen for our benefit. So cutting through the symbolism though, because I know you want me to. This is a lot of Jupiter, Venus, sextile, Pluto. All these things are kind of gibberish to most of us. But with this Jupiter retrograde, we are being asked to connect the spaces between our throats, our throat, the body part that Taurus rules, where Jupiter is stationing retrograde, right? And our hearts, the part of the body Leo rules, where Venus, ruler of Taurus, has just stationed. So between the heart, Leo, and the throat, Taurus, there can be a major blockage. These two, the heart and the throat, are known as chakra centers, right, in the Kundalini system. No coincidence here. And this retrograde station connects us to both of them. They want our attention. The throat represents the word, the expression of one's own will. So when we can't access the natural flow between our hearts, one's own true desires, and our voice boxes, we aren't saying what we really want to say. We are not expressing our true selves. Maybe we haven't been allowed to speak our truth in the past, or it hasn't been received well, right? But if you're over 18, I have news for you. You are really the only one enforcing any past personal expression rules of authority figures or whatever. There is a constitutional freedom of speech here in the United States. It is our very First Amendment. There is literally, actually, nobody stopping you from speaking your heart or expressing yourself and your desires but you. Really. Actually, though. And this has been underlined and underscored several ways by the astrology of this moment. The most clear being that at 15 degrees of Taurus, right? The degree where Jupiter stations retrograde or is stationing right now. This is the second transit, Jupiter stationing retrograde. So 15 degrees Taurus is the very same degree that Mercury, our thoughts, communication, and self-expression, that is where Mercury stationed retrograde earlier this year on April 21st. You can pop back to that date if you're curious. Yes, the exact degree. And what is more, Mercury ended that retrograde. Mercury's in a different retrograde now. It retrogrades a lot. So Mercury ended that retrograde in April, right? That retrograde cycle by stationing direct later at 5 degrees of Taurus. Guess where Jupiter is stationing direct? You know it. Same degrees, the very same degree, 5 degrees of Taurus, on actually the last day of this calendar year. So on December 31st, New Year's Eve, 2023, that's when Jupiter will station direct in Taurus. So there is something we have to clear from our throats, if you will. There's something that Jupiter is giving us a high-level view on that we have already begun to unravel earlier in this year. So we've been noodling on this value-based issue, on what we want to say, on how we want to say it, on how we want to feel. Jupiter is here on these very same degrees to make us feel good about how we're changing, about what we are about to say. Jupiter is here because when we are at our best, we are expressing the highest versions of ourselves with no artifice, no games, just grace. And that grace applies to ourselves as much as to anybody else. So the voice we use to speak to ourselves inside, right, this one has to be connected to the truth of our heart-centered soul experience as well. The voice we use to speak to ourselves is not exempt. It is easy to get into bad habits, to get lazy, or to allow the negativity to get to you. This Jupiter retrograde is about clearing out anything that stands in the way of our self-actualization and prosperity. Jupiter retrograde is here to help us love what we love and accept ourselves and our values in that process of personal refinement. Third transit. Mercury Cazimi. Mercury retrograde conjoins the sun at 13 degrees of Virgo on Wednesday, September 6th at 6:08 a.m. Central Standard Time. Of course, Jupiter could not be taking the same retrograde track as Mercury without some mercurial transit popping up. And this is happening trine, right? Trine, 120-degree angle of the nature of Jupiter, trine to Jupiter, who is just stationed retrograde. Bah. Every major astrological movement works together, is what this means, and speaks to the nature of the others. Themes are always overarching here. The sky will give you the same message no matter where you look. Light is all information. And the messages clearly sent and received are the theme of this Mercury retrograde Cazimi in Virgo. Virgo being the sixth sign in the zodiac, our mutable earth sign ruled by Mercury itself, and where Mercury also is exaltation lord, or does its very finest work. So before planets are Cazimi, or in the heart of the sun, the same degree as the sun, they are what is called combust. They are not visible in the sky because the sun's light overwhelms their light, and they become invisible to us on Earth and hard to see in our lives as well. It can be hard for us to witness or notice their impacts in our lived experience. So when Mercury is combust, it's harder to understand our own thought patterns or make sense, to make logical choices and to sort of see the mental forest through the trees, if you will. But when a planet is right there in the very heart of the sun, or on the same degree, it becomes bona fide. It becomes glorified. It's in the literal spotlight, right? Surrounded by the light and purified by the rays of the sun. It is born again. And Mercury retrograde in Virgo cannot wait to be born again. Mercury has had a rougher go of it since Mars did its painfully lengthy retrograde from August of 2022 to March of 2023 in Mercury's other home sign of Gemini. Since then, Mercury has been following Mars, playing catch up all year and trying to clean up, literally, its mess. Translation. We have been trying to get out from behind the 8 ball, collectively, to get out from between the rock and the hard place. We've been trying to fix something or set something up or generally get things sorted, and it hasn't quite been fully happening, or at least it hasn't been happening very fast. And that can be, well, depressing. The cycle may have felt like you're never out in front of things, or like you're scrambling to manage, or like you just can't get your head right, or like you're just always irritated, or like the finances have been too tight, or like you've been talking past each other, or like the kids' needs have been just overwhelming, or like you're never done putting out fires. Well, folks, this is Mercury finally getting the chance to finish deep cleaning its favorite house. It already did the first one, it's doing the second one. Like finally getting organized, or understanding the path forward, or balancing the books, or making the plan, or getting the schedule like 100% set. Mercury will still be retrograde for another week and a half until stationing direct on September 15th, but we will have clarity, finally. The reframing we need of whatever that situation is. The numbers will finally all be adding up right on the spreadsheet, if you know what I mean, so you can resubmit it. There will still be maybe a little more to fix, or more nuance to our mental process, or more massaging of the business plan. Because this Mercury cazimi in Virgo actually happens opposite to where the moon is full in Pisces. So there's some sort of ongoing process we're working on, ongoing tension, but with more mental commitment, so more personal conviction and resources, with fewer distractions and unnecessary meetings about meetings. This cazimi invites us to a place of greater integrity, of greater care, of personal diligence, of, dare I say it, more maturity. On that note, we flow into the final portion of our show. The upcoming quality of time over the next 2 weeks following this full moon in Pisces will feel heartfelt, heavy, personal, profound, and groundbreaking. Which brings us into our do's and don'ts for this full moon in Pisces syzygy. Do sit with difficult emotions and honor them as real, though temporary. Don't confuse how you feel with who you are. You are not. You are much more than how you feel right now. Do observe yourself and the thoughts and feelings that pass through. Honor each one as true. Don't cling too tightly to any particular up or down, though the dramatics may be tempting. Do be flexible. Sometimes the plan will need to be amended for best results. Don't compromise your values. You're allowed to have personal desires and standards. And last but not least, let me repeat that I can come to you and read your natal chart via Zoom. I take private clients on my website, www.texastrology.com. Book yours or get a digital gift certificate for a friend. I do mini readings as well, so we can keep it affordable. Also, please like, follow, subscribe to, review, and share this podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Y'all are the best. Thank you so much for sharing. I will see you next time. That's it for this episode, folks. Meet me here every full and new moon for more cosmic wisdom. For now, you can find me on Instagram at Rachel Ruth Tate and at Texastrology, or between the pages of my book, Meditations on Being, available on Amazon and wherever else you purchase books.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production. In a world where dreams meet reality, there exists a place where your business can flourish. That place is Shopify. Imagine having the power to craft your online store with tools that make it as easy as a gentle breeze. Whether you're an artisan of handmade wonders, a creator of digital treasures, or a curator of the latest trends, Shopify stands by your side. With its customizable templates, seamless integrations, and support that's always there, your dream store is just a heartbeat away. Join millions of visionaries around the globe and let Shopify guide you on your journey. Visit roguemedianetwork.com/Shopify. That's roguemedianetwork.com/SHOPIFY. And embark on your free trial. Shopify, where your commerce dreams come to life.